immediately. Anybody who has a Tesla, sell it. Yeah. Sell it immediately and sell.
We're boycotting Tesla.
I sold my Tesla. I traded it in for a Subaru, actually.
Shut up, Elon! Go home, Elon!
When you already have 300 billion, why do you need more?
Wake up! Fight back!
I have friends who are undocumented.
As a queer person, I've been affected by this. Elon is the biggest clown there is, so I decided to dress up as a clown today.
Elon Musk gonna make Cuba the 51st state.
Tech bro, you're gonna go.
The 51st state, man.
He tweets 200 times a day. The man is on ketamine and he's not well.
These two people are in bed together. They're doing it to everybody, not just to each other. They're doing it to everybody. We're all part of this. It's horrible.
You cannot tweet with the kind of frequency that we see from Elon Musk and be a healthy adult. It's just impossible. It's impossible. Like the man tweets, if I look up Social Blade, this guy tweets on average 164 times a day. You cannot be an adult and be like healthy psychologically if you're posting 164 times a day. There's no way that you're doing okay, like psychologically, if you're posting that much. That is just a crazy amount of tweeting.
They're gonna kill us first, but you're next.
Fire Elon Musk and send him to Mars, where he belongs.
What's up, everybody? We're back with a new Channel 5 breaking news special. As many of you guys know, the Trump administration has kicked things off into high gear, issuing 73 executive orders in the first month of the new presidency.
Very important
Breaking, it looks like the minerals deal will be signed. U.S. President Donald Trump's administration, Ukraine planned to sign the debated minerals deal after a disastrous Oval Office meeting in which Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky was dismissed from the building. 4 people familiar with the deal said. Okay. Hopefully they can get some security assurances there. But yeah.
executive orders.
Some of the executive orders are not that controversial, like creating a task force to disrupt the synthetic opioid supply chain in China, a declassification of the FBI files on the assassinations of JFK and MLK, and limiting the federal government's ability to pressure social media companies into censoring their users.
It really is a slippery slope.
However, many of these executive orders are extremely polarizing and range from mass deportation orders to bans on paper straws to restoring the death penalty to preventing children from medically transitioning genders.
There are only 2 genders, male and female.
Trump has also established something called the Department of Government Efficiency, aka DOGE, which has the stated goal of auditing government agencies and cutting back on expenses.
The checks never bounce to the federal government.
Something that's resulted in the defunding of the Department of Education and the mass firings of federal employees like park rangers, baby formula testers, USAID workers, and other alleged bureaucrats in the DC swamp.
And 6,000 IRS staffers expected to be terminated by the end of the month.
Now, the chief executive of DOGE is tech mogul Elon Musk, which has sparked a number of anti-Elon Stop the Coup protests around the country.
We're tired and we're not gonna stand back. We are wide awoke.
The guy's a criminal. He's unelected and he needs to go.
Nobody elected him. He's not qualified. He's a racist.
We covered one last week.
Where are these protests?
In New York City.
Oh, New York City.
And by coup, they seem to be suggesting that by defunding federal agencies, shrinking the government, and appointing Trump loyalists to powerful positions, Trump and Elon are attempting to seize absolute power over the U.S. and create an autocracy.
It's a bloodless coup, so nobody thinks there's a coup going on.
He wants to be a king. People don't get it.
Yeah.
He wants to be a king.
He's acting like a king or wannabe dictator. I think it's pathetic.
We have a government where powers are supposed to be separated between equal branches.
Our democracy is being eroded from the inside by people we're not elected to be there.
Because what they're trying to create is an autocracy.
It's important to note that the unelected buzzword the protesters have attached to Elon is a shaky argument. Not only does the Constitution empower the president to appoint federal officials and cabinet members without a public vote, but Trump also campaigned with the explicit intention of appointing Elon to the head of DOGE.
Take over, Elon, just take over.
So those who voted for Trump, which is a majority of voters, also...
I think the problem with this argument is that, you know, I think a lot of people towards the center kind of broadly liked the idea, the vague idea of like cutting government waste and fraud. So if you go out and you ask people like, hey, what do you think about Donald Trump appointing Elon Musk to go in there and like cut waste and fraud? Like 90% of people are going to answer that question and say, like, yeah, well, yeah, that sounds good, right? Like, get rid of fraud, great. But when he actually got elected, after he was inaugurated, after he appointed Elon to head this Doge situation, and now like seeing what Doge is doing, I guarantee you there's a sizable percentage of people in this country that voted for Donald Trump, but are sort of taken off guard by what they're seeing from Doge. It's been very chaotic, the way that they've been operating so far. And, you know, people are voicing their concerns all over the country in town halls. And, you know, so I don't know if I understand what he's saying here, but I think he has sort of like a limited view of it.
So effectively voted for Elon. Anyways, while I was in New York City covering the Stop the Coup rally, there were similar protests breaking out on the West Coast. So I sent 2 correspondents into the field to check the temperature.
80-year-old women dressed as butterflies on traffic medians? Yeah. And these chants aren't good.
In the city of Glendale, which is near Los Angeles, we had our friend Matt in the field.
What's up? We're here in Glendale, the Americana.
And at the Tesla showroom in Palo Alto, California, which is regarded to be the center of the Silicon Valley ecosystem, we have my homie Albie from San Francisco at a physical boycott of the Tesla showroom.
What's up, guys? My name's Albie. I'm Andrew's homie from Frisco, but I'm here at the Tesla showroom in Palo Alto.
There's a protest going on, protesting Elon Musk, Doge, Tesla.
Everybody's out here protesting Elon Musk, and yeah, so Channel 5 News.
Let's see what people think.
We are going to resist, and we're going to resist together, because nobody can tolerate this.
We will not tolerate a deporter-in-chief.
Enough was enough with the Sieg Heil, the heartfelt autistic salute. So 4 weeks ago, just me and a friend stood outside the service center in Burbank, and the next day there was 4 of us. Last week, we came here and there was 30, and then this week it's just exploding here and across the country. There was like almost 100 here today, and they're all everywhere.
Tesla burns to a crisp. That's the caption on this now viral video of a charred Model 3.
And it's just growing, and Tesla stock is rapidly declining.
New numbers from Tesla show its annual EV sales declined for the first time in more than a decade.
The stock is crashing at the moment. You're watching it live. On the month, you're down to what, 23%? On the day, I think it's like 7% down. Oh, geez. Now 8%, approaching 9% down.
The organizers
Seems bad.
Boycott.
What's that stock looking like today? The month trajectory is really bad. The 3-month trajectory is really bad. This is what it looks like. Topped out in, when was this? December? And it has been on a steady decline since December. How much has it shrank since December? 75 to 280? Jesus fucking Christ.
Rally say it's more than just about Elon's political affiliation, and that Doge aside, he's genuinely mentally unfit to be running billion-dollar publicly traded companies.
This guy supposedly runs the boring company, Tesla, SpaceX, Starlink, and he's tweeting 200 times a day and never sleeping and taking ketamine. He's just been radicalized. His politics have clearly shifted, and we've seen it happen with all our friends and loved ones. They go down the dark side, they go on QAnon, down the internet rabbit hole, and something just happens to them, and it's...
This is so real. Jesus Christ.
Usually white dudes. Thank you. It's usually some white dude who got picked on when he was a kid.
I was almost beaten to death, if you call that bullied. It was not a happy childhood.
Do you think the Democrats are doing it?
His dad recently came out and said he's not proud of Elon, and Elon needs to lose weight. When I tell you, I lost it when I saw that headline. I was like, oh my God. It all makes sense. Just a 1-2 punch of dad saying, I'm not proud of Elon and he needs to lose weight. And you wonder why he ceaselessly longs for the praise and adoration of strangers. It all kind of makes sense.
Enough?
Absolutely not. They went and stormed the Department of Education building, and one little skinny dude was stopping a whole mob of angry Democrats. It's pathetic.
The stunt comes as President Trump is considering abolishing the department.
Democrats do not know how to fight. That's literally my single mission. They know how to throw a punch, but when they take a punch back, they run away. And fighting is taking punches and getting bloody. It means our actual leaders need to get arrested, like John Lewis would have done.
Congressman John Lewis and Charles Rangel were among those arrested during a march on the National Mall. The lawmakers were among the first arrested after
kind of based.
refusing police orders to disperse.
We need new leaders. All of our leadership of the Democratic Party, they're using 20th century tactics and messaging to fight against a battle troll destroying our country because of
Yeah, I agree with this.
social media.
All right, let's take
I don't see I don't subscribe to the idea that we need to just clean house and like push everybody out of the party that isn't good in front of a camera, because I think at that point we're just wasting like potentially really good talent and reliable votes. But in terms of like the media strategy, everything is just so backwards right now. They truly are operating from a 20th century playbook. I largely agree with that.
A moment to talk about Elon Musk's radicalization that's being referenced.
I don't like that. Anyone over 65, see ya? I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that.
In that interview, because I too have caught wind of the 10-year-old 4chan memes being posted by Elon on X and thought to myself, how the heck did that happen? Back in the day during the Obama era, I can remember when Elon Musk was a full-blown save the earth liberal and frequently secured massive government contracts.
You gonna run cover for Elon right now? Sometimes he does this both sides shit. Channel 5 does. That's a bit annoying. Is he about to do it? Please tell me he doesn't. Please tell me he doesn't. He will. He's gonna do it.
From the Democrats, which he used to build eco-friendly cars and rockets.
I have a Tesla.
Yeah.
Okay, and I love it. I love it.
He was even tweeting in support of trans rights just a few years ago and vocally criticizing Trump.
He's not the right guy. He doesn't seem to have the sort of character that reflects well on the United States.
But like so many Americans, both left and right, 2020 broke him. Within 5 years of voting for Brandon, Elon would be tweeting things like pronouns suck and I love Donald Trump as much as a straight man can love another man. So how did that happen? The way I see it, it all goes back to the first stage of the COVID pandemic, which gave birth to the anti-lockdown Freedom March movement, which Elon was quite fond of.
Freedom! Freedom! Freedom!
Elon's first personal freedom outburst came on April 28, 2020, shortly after the Trump administration and Democratic government officials in California ordered the shutdown of American Tesla factories to stop the spread of COVID-19.
Tesla, which employs roughly 10,000 people at its Fremont plant, was initially forced to shut down.
Okay, his analysis so far seems to be pretty on point.
Immediately, Elon tweeted in all caps, "Free America," became critical of lockdowns and began calling the government actions of Trump and Newsom fascist.
Musk telling investors the orders hinder people's freedom.
This is fascist. Give people back their goddamn freedom.
Though initially pro-lockdown,
we've made the decision to...
Translation, I'm going to make less money if these lockdowns continue.
Further toughen the guidelines and blunt the infection now.
Trump quickly capitalized on the growing unrest amongst freedom-hungry conservatives and staunchly positioned himself against the CDC and blue state governors in an obvious effort to court more votes for the upcoming election.
The Chinese virus.
Did you know there won't be any more COVID on November 4th? It'll be gone.
Still, throughout that election cycle,
that didn't happen.
Elon stayed loyal to the Democrats and voted for Biden in 2020.
Biden won. Yes, I believe he won.
And you voted for him.
I did.
But things really heated up between Biden and Elon in 2020.
This is like fundamental to Elon's heel turn was Biden icing him out of an EV summit because Tesla didn't support unions. That was a huge moment in Elon's trajectory. By all report, there's been various reporting on this issue, and they all say the same thing, that he was really personally aggrieved when he was not invited to the summit.
2021, after Biden held an electric vehicle summit and took the stage with the CEOs of both Ford and General Motors.
Didn't invite Tesla.
Praising them as the leaders of electric vehicles, despite the fact that at that point, Tesla had made 115,000 EVs in America and General Motors had only made 26.
He never mentions Tesla, and that's gotta be getting under Elon's skin.
You know, like Biden held this EV summit, didn't mention Tesla once, and praised GM and Ford for leading the EV revolution.
Biden never explicitly stated why Elon and Tesla were left out of the summit, but it likely wasn't about the mean tweets from the year before. Also invited to the summit.
I don't think that's true. I think Biden did come out and say it was because Tesla didn't support unions. CNN article from August asked if Tesla being a non-union company was the reason it wasn't included Thursday. Psaki replied, "Well, these are the three largest employers of the UAW, so I'll let you draw your own conclusions." Yeah, so, I mean, it's technically true that Biden didn't come out and explicitly say that it was because Tesla didn't support unions, but that was very, very well known.
And on stage was the UAW.
Don't make it so obvious you watched this. Wait, this video went up yesterday. I did not watch this video. Why are you doing this to me? Why are you slandering?
Or the
I tell you guys when I pre-watch videos.
United Auto Workers Union, the largest car manufacturer union in America, who work every single day to make sure that auto workers get fair pensions and wages.
They often did this through extreme hardship and sacrifice, sometimes at the expense of spilled blood.
Joe Biden is notably pro-union.
I'm proud to be the first president to walk a picket line.
And received large campaign donations from the Auto Workers Union, who'd recently tried and failed to unionize Tesla workers.
The United Auto Workers Union, or UAW, alleged that Tesla fired a worker for attempting to form a union.
Because of the company's immediate termination policy, Tesla is the only major auto manufacturer in the US not represented by a single union, and their workers are paid significantly less than other rival car manufacturers, despite having reported unsafe workplace conditions on a consistent basis for the past 4 years.
Tesla factory workers in California are working so hard they're passing out on the production line.
Tesla employees say they were worked to exhaustion.
Former Tesla workers sue the company.
Approximately 50 workers were not adequately protected from excessive heat.
Inspectors found workers were exposed to hexavalent chromium.
He's always had a record
doesn't sound great.
of abusing workers. There are labor claims against him at the factory in Milpitas for excessive heat and putting workers into dangerous conditions.
Yet without the ability to unionize and demand fair wages and conditions, these complaints have mostly died in the courts or fallen on deaf ears at Tesla corporate. Elon has said that his anti-union stance isn't about making more money for himself, but actually because unions kind of kill the vibe.
And I think the unions naturally try to create negativity in a company and create a kind of sort of lords and peasants situation.
Anyways,
union workers, I believe, make on average 10% more than their non-union counterparts. 11.2%. Their wages are 11.2%, and they get better benefits on average. So naturally, this robber baron opposes unions.
After being snubbed at the summit, Elon was pissed.
So you were pissed.
And around this exact time, 2 more things happened in Elon's personal life that made things even worse. First, he separated with his then partner, Grimes, a visually liberal lady with whom he has multiple children.
Elon Musk and Grimes have publicly announced their separation.
And simultaneously, one of his kids came out as transgender, changed their name, and denounced their dad.
Vivian cut ties with Elon in 2022 after filing a petition to change her name due to her gender identity and her severed relationship with her father.
So my son Xavier is dead, killed by the woke mind virus.
What a thing! It just speaks to Elon's character. Like, what a horrible thing to say. Like, if you're a parent, why are you hashing out intra-family grievances in the media? Especially when you have the largest bullhorn in the world. Like, I try to be, I've been conscious of that at various times. Like, I've gone through breakups while, you know, being in the content game. And I very intentionally avoided sharing any kind of details about the split. Even if I felt like I had legitimate grievances with some of my exes, I felt like, well, it doesn't feel right for me to use my platform to air that stuff out when they don't have a platform. And so I was always very kind of private with that stuff. Like, I talked kind of loosely about things in relationships but whatever. I mean, like, his daughter doesn't have the kind of platform that he has. And his daughter has a totally different perspective on their conflict. So for Elon to get up there and just tell the world, the woke mind virus killed my son, to me, it just feels like so evil. Why are you airing your dirty laundry like that? Just so it's so immature. Did you see Pam Bondi's Epstein files? Breaking: some information in Epstein files will be redacted due to national security concerns, per AG Pam Bondi. LOL.
I no longer live with or wish to be related to my biological father in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
I can't imagine what that would be like.
If we were to look at Elon's conservative radicalization through the unmet core needs theory that I laid out in our recently premiered documentary, Dear Kelly, it's safe to say that through the collapse of his family and government backing, he lost his security. Through the loss of his status as the Democrat-backed tech darling, his significance. And through the estrangement of his then-girlfriend and child, connection. It was after this that Elon entered a traumatic fight-or-flight state in 2021. And he chose to fight, which allowed conservatives and conservative media channels to gradually groom him over the course of 4 years into what he is today.
Okay, this is actually one of the best, I think, Channel 5 videos that I've ever seen. Like, his analysis at every point during this video, I think, has been so good.
There's a prideful person with a chip on his shoulder, hopelessly stuck in the third stage of the grief process, angry and hell-bent on revenge. Elon's most significant revenge acquisition was his purchase of Twitter in 2022.
The world's richest guy is set to buy one of the world's most influential social media companies.
Elon Musk carried a kitchen sink into Twitter.
Oh man, I remember. Oh God, I remember, dude. 2022. I remember it first started emerging this possibility of Elon acquiring Twitter as majority shareholder. Like I want to say February or March of 2022. And I remember when it, like, first hearing of that possibility, I felt like, oh boy, this is not going to be great. And then finally, when he did take over, when the courts compelled him to follow through on that deal, because he initially tried to back out of the deal. Like he made like a $44 billion bid, which I think tanked the stock price of Twitter. And then he tried to back out of the deal, and the former shareholders took him to court, because you can't do that. You can't take an action that's going to like intentionally tank the value of the company and then try to back out of the deal like that. And then I remember that feeling of like him taking over, because it was just so obvious the damage that he was going to do to the discourse. And somehow he has eclipsed even my wildest nightmares. Somehow it's even worse than I expected it to be. His impact on Twitter and thus the discourse has been just so profoundly awful and destructive.
HQ this week, tweeting, "Let that sink in."
Quickly after buying Twitter and renaming it X, he used his own account to elevate the narratives of conservative reactionaries who were delighted to have the richest man in the world not only buying but spreading the same bullshit they've been pushing for 4 years. Still, for all of 2023 and most of 2024, Elon was red-pilled but not fully a Trump guy. He actually backed Florida Governor Ron DeSantis for president.
Elon Musk tipping his hat toward Florida Governor Ron DeSantis to be the next president of the United States.
But when it turned out that DeSantis wouldn't really be the right guy, he was all Trump. Kind of. It wasn't until the Butler, Pennsylvania incident, when someone tried to kill Donald Trump, that Elon said, "I want to fight beside him too." And he kicked off his endorsement with a $120 million donation to the Trump campaign.
Elon Musk is now Trump's second biggest financial backer.
To be fair, I
don't really buy that the assassination attempt was the thing that prompted him to take action. I think he was going to do this regardless. I think he uses that as an excuse. I think like people like Rogan used it as an excuse as well. They thought it gave them a little bit more cover to come out in favor of and to be overtly political in a way that maybe they weren't entirely before. I think Elon was always going to spend copious amounts of cash to help elect Republicans in the 2024 cycle. Like he was always going to do that.
Investment was two-sided. After Election Day, Tesla's stock shot up over 80%, though after missing European sales targets and the growth of nationwide boycotts in the US, it started to crash back down to earth, which brings us to the boycott being covered today in this video. Apparently, Elon haters in Palo Alto and also in Glendale believe they can reverse Tesla's stock growth by staging physical boycotts of IRL Tesla showrooms, which they hope will create enough of a media spectacle to at least cause potential buyers to think twice before getting a Tesla.
We're just, making this point in front of a Tesla dealership and calling on the American people to stop buying Tesla. Let's boycott Tesla until we fix this problem.
I'm only focusing on Tesla and Musk because I feel like marching outside the White House or Trump he's Teflon Don. So we're going after Musk because it's a soft target, because he's sensitive and susceptible and he lashes out, and if we can decline his stock price, he has no wealth and then he loses his power.
Anybody who has a Tesla, sell it. Yeah. Sell it immediately and sell it for the lowest dollar that you can, and if it's a relatively new car, that'll prevent another one from being made.
Don't buy Teslas. And if you have a Tesla, sell your Tesla. And if you have neighbors who have Teslas, tell them to sell their Teslas.
Because Tesla.
Okay, here's where I don't understand the logic. Because if you sell the Tesla, I don't understand what that accomplishes. Because you're just transferring ownership. I don't understand how selling your Tesla hurts Tesla. Good point. Destroy the Tesla. Oh dear, Jesus Christ.
Tesla's the public face of Elon Musk, who is the public face of fascism.
If I had one, I'd sell it. I would be too embarrassed to drive it.
If Elon didn't own Tesla, would you like the cars itself?
I don't care.
Are you kidding? That, whatever it is, it's bizarre.
I don't think they're the best EVs on the market. I don't think anyone thinks that. Whether or not it's driver error, they're the most dangerous cars on the road, so take what you will from that.
New video of a dramatic crash on the Bay Bridge.
Jesus Christ.
Safety concerns aside, the protesters believe the boycott will be successful, so long as they can create a direct correlation.
Dude, I will say that, like, that was, I don't know if they've fixed it with the updates, because they do software updates constantly on these cars, but for the first like 2 years when using autopilot, some of the aggressive braking that the autopilot did was very sketch. It was a lot more, again, I don't know the last time it's happened, so I think maybe they've upgraded their systems to not have that happen as much, because I honestly don't remember the last time it happened, but like, especially in the first year or two, you'll just be driving on the freeway and, you know, you'll have kind of clear lanes to your left and your right, and it would just like slam on the brakes in the middle of the like freeway, and you have to just immediately put your foot on the accelerator. It was very sketch. So like that, you know, I think Tim Pool tweeted about that too. Tim Pool, I think like a few years ago, was talking about how he had a Model X or something like that. And he was just like, I really like my car, but it's kind of weird when it slams on the brake in the middle of the freeway. Which, yeah, again, I don't remember the last time that happened, but like the first 2 years, you had to be very vigilant, especially when you're on a like LA. If you guys have never been to LA, our freeways are insane. The freeways in Los Angeles are like really like confusing and congested, and you have like 5, 6, 7, 8 lane freeways just all over the place, you know? And when you have like a ton of cars around you, if you got your car slamming on the brakes in the middle of the freeway, that can very easily cause a lot of damage. As someone who studied a PhD in self-driving cars, I would never trust one, particularly a Tesla. My experience with the autopilot is that it has gotten a lot better. And I've never really had, like, aside from the braking thing, I've never really had like a sketchy situation. And my hand's always on the wheel. Like, I'm always like paying attention. So yeah.
Between owning and driving a Tesla and supporting the new Trump regime.
The fact is that none of the Tesla dealerships are locally owned. All of them are corporate owned. So the money that you spend at this dealership in Palo Alto goes to Musk.
Quit funding Republican corporations. It's really easy. Quit buying Wisconsin cheese. Quit shopping at Target. Those are all things we can do. Quit doing Amazon. You know, if we don't give them the money, then they can't do their horror to us. You know, and there's an Indian philosophy. Everybody has two wolves inside of them. Yeah. And the child asks, which one wins? The one you feed. It's the grandfather's wisdom. So don't feed the ugly corporations and the haters.
People matter.
Everyone is human, everyone is legal, no one is a parasite.
I noticed from the California interview footage that the topic of illegal immigration and mass deportation was much more of a talking point than it was in New York. After all, 1 in 10 workers in California are currently undocumented. And in the manufacturing and agricultural sector, that number is probably much higher.
I'm just worried about the future, you know. I have friends who work in various businesses, are really good people who might not have a legal status in this country, and it just, you know, what's going to happen to them?
I have friends who are undocumented.
Yeah.
You know, I used to own a construction company. Well, you know, half of the construction workers in this area are immigrants, and about half of them are undocumented. We could not have built the buildings we built, like the Monterey Bay Aquarium. Facebook could not have happened if we didn't have those immigrant workers.
I have family members who are from Mexico who have been affected by the immigration policies.
Some of my coworkers are undocumented. My son is going to be attending college next year, and he has a disability, so we're applying for financial aid right now that I feel like might not be there when the time comes.
At stake are resources and support for more than 7 million students with disabilities who depend on the agency to ensure access to a free public education.
I also have a son who has autism, and I think that
there was an amazing exchange recently where John Favreau of Pod Save America quote retweeted a story about how Doge had interrupted crucial aid. I don't remember. I mean, I feel like this has happened like dozens of times, but in this instance, it was like millions of dollars of food that we had already purchased that was just sitting in a factory. Just talk about cutting back on waste. We're talking about the ultimate example of waste is like blocking the transfer of food that we had already purchased. And Elon replied to him. Hold on, let me see if I can find it because I did tweet about it. Elon said, "Dollar store John Favreau is an imbecilic propagandist who lies to score cheap political points. That said, we will investigate whether this is real or not and fix it if it is." And then sometime later, the contract mentioned above with Adizia had already been restored last week and they should receive payment this coming week. So he was trying to play cover here, but Favreau's was absolutely correct.
And a reworking of everything.
He had to come back and be like, yeah, basically he was right, but we're already on top of it.
The stop on federal funding is just crazy. It just doesn't make any sense, and it's hurting the country.
The strength of a country is shown by how much they protect the rights and the freedoms and the needs of the most vulnerable. And Musk and Trump are dismantling all of that. We are also a queer family, and I worry about my children's safety and future and rights, that their rights will slowly but surely be stripped away. I think they will not stop with the immigrants. Yeah. They will keep going towards the most vulnerable who don't fit the mold.
Wake up. It's happening way too fast. Yeah. And if you don't stand up and protect the other groups, you're going to be next. It took Hitler a year from January of 33 till May of 33 to come after the gypsies, which are brown people and migrated and did labor work. 33, 34, 35, 36, unionists, socialists, trans, and gays. And then in 37, they came after the Jews, Night of the Broken Glass. So that's the progression that we're going through right now. And, the Jews didn't stand up for people at the beginning. They were making money. They were industrialists. Yeah. But they turned on the Jews finally. Yeah. So if you think you're immune and you can just sit it out, you're going to get caught sooner or later.
This is about standing up for our rights.
And even though Trump probably thinks what he's doing is saving democracy, he's destroying it.
Many of the protesters also believe that the mainstream conservative media machine is complicit in this coup as well, in the way that it's hypnotized the masses away from progressive politics, gradually grooming them into worshiping billionaires and falling for overblown culture war distractions.
What do you make on the attack on DEI?
I think it's a really easy way for basically a larger ownership, class to say, hey, don't.
We've known for so long that these cloth masks, don't do much. We've known for so long. You can buy N95 masks pretty cheap on Amazon. If you're going to wear masks, that's fine. I think there's a lot of people that are getting sick right now, especially in Southern California. So, if I go to a store or something, I might wear a mask, but these cloth masks don't really do much. Mr. Delta with 81 months, I don't know how you stay so relatively composed and stay so in tune with everything going on. I always feel overwhelmed and so much anxiety. Thanks so much for fighting. In cases like that, I don't know if you're still in here, Mr. Delta, but if you ever find yourself at the point where you're getting actually emotionally overwhelmed with the day-to-day events that are occurring with this administration, I fully endorse doing kind of a media blackout for a little bit. I fully endorse taking a break from politics for 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, whatever. The reason why it doesn't bother me is because, I would say this time around, I have a much more balanced life. So I still make time for the things that bring me joy. I still enjoy my life. But if I made my entire life about reacting to news 24/7, I would just be miserable. And if you're having a hard time regulating yourself, then I would just fully endorse hey, 2 months, bro. Hutch is numb to the pain now. Definitely not. I'm not drinking. I'm not numbing myself at all. It sucks. Shit sucks. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It sucks over here right now. But it's okay to take time away. There's no nobility in depression. You know what I mean? There's no nobility in that. It doesn't make you a better person. It's not your cross to bear. You definitely need to make sure that you're taking care of yourself. And that means doing things that make you joyful. You have if there's one thing that Trump can't do, he can't take away your joy unless you let him. Like he can't do that. He can't stop you from doing things that make you happy. And so I think in some ways that's kind of an act of rebellion. Making sure that you do things that make you happy. Because that, I'm telling you guys, it is built into their game plan right now to overwhelm you. They want you to feel overwhelmed, hopeless, and helpless. It's a part of the game plan. They want their people to feel emboldened, euphoric, confident, and they want the other people, the others, to feel completely beaten down. And so if you make time for things that make you happy, you're kind of, it's kind of an act of defiance, you know?
Don't pay attention to the fact that your groceries are doubling in price every year. Don't pay attention to the fact that
Hey, chat, you can't put up a fight if you can't even take care of yourself. So be sure to take care of yourself. Set boundaries and limits, etc. For example, when I feel overwhelmed, I just hit up Jimmy's mom and woo, that sure is a stress reliever. Wheeze her out.
Yeah.
nobody can buy a house. Just pay attention to the fact that trans people are scary to you, and DEI is a fun buzzword. The Republican and right-wing propaganda machine is incredibly strong, and people who otherwise they're just not engaged, and people, they've got multiple jobs, they're just too bogged down to pay attention to things, to learn about things, and systems keep them uneducated, just oppressed in various ways, that when you come home from like a triple shift, what are you going to do? Like go online and read about stuff? No, you've got so much more stuff to take care of. So I don't blame any.
Now it definitely looks like I pre-watched, like blatantly looks like that, but I didn't. I swear to God. I'm very in tune with this video.
Anybody for, getting into like the right-wing hole, but it's like, we'll see how good the propaganda.
I swear to God. Like I tell you guys every time I pre-watch something.
The machine is for the next few years.
So you support Elon Musk?
Yes.
Okay, what do you like about Elon Musk?
Everything. Is a smart guy. He's helping us to figure out what's going on in the government.
Do you believe he's making the government more efficient?
I hope he does. I mean, we'll find out sooner or later.
They probably genuinely are finding some inefficiencies and some corruptions that everybody could agree on. And I think they're also saying things are fraud that are just valuable services being rebranded as waste.
I understand all that stuff, but the truth takes time for it to come out. We hear all these negative stories, they're cutting this, laying off people, this, that, but eventually the truth will come out.
Do you think Donald Trump has our best interest in mind?
I hope so. I hope so.
Me too.
Yeah. I mean, look, he's been in the office for 1 month, and he's being bombarded with all this negative media. People have to give him some time, chance. I mean, America spoke, right? He won all the swing states. He won the popular vote. I mean, I have to give him a benefit of the doubt. And only time will tell if he's good for this country or he's bad for this country.
President Trump says some of the money apparently saved by the Department of Government Efficiency's cost-cutting efforts could be given back to Americans as stimulus checks. Last week, Trump said the administration is considering giving 20% of Doge savings to citizens.
If he were to give each member of the American
Best I can do, $5.
public $5,000, would you take that?
Of course. Hey, we're giving Ukraine $200 billion. Why not? You wouldn't take it?
If they send it to me, I have no choice but to take it, but it's going to dramatically increase inflation.
Exactly. Exactly. Yes. Of course. Yeah.
All they talk about is
you can ask for a $5,000 stimulus, or you can, try to tackle inflation. You can't do both at the same time, certainly.
Saving money. Why wouldn't they use?
Which is, it's a moot point regardless, because they're not going to give you $5,000. They're not going to find that much waste. I promise you.
That money to go pay off the debt they seem to care so much about. It's graft. It's trying to bribe people with money while they pick your pocket in the front and they take all your money.
All right, guys, this is Albie. We just finished checking out the Elon Musk protests. Let us know what you guys think in the comment section. Channel 5 News, we out, baby. Channel 5 Live.
Channel 5 content feels kind of, what's the word? Surreal sometimes. They capture these like very kind of like absurd pieces of Americana, in ways that are quite entertaining. That video was, I thought that video was terrific. That video was, I think, probably the best Channel 5 video I've ever seen. Just like super on point analysis at every step, you know, really just well done.